There comes a moment in every life when the realization strikes with undeniable force. One decision can change everything. Not 1,000 little actions strung together over decades, not a complex strategy of endless planning, but one decisive choice, one turning point that shifts the trajectory of your entire existence. That is the power I want you to understand, because when you grasp it, you stop living as if your life is simply happening to you, and you begin to live as though you have been entrusted with the responsibility of shaping it. The scriptures are filled with such moments. Abraham decided to leave his homeland in obedience to God's call, and history was forever altered. Ruth chose to cling to Naomi instead of returning to the comfort of her own people, and from her lineage came kings and ultimately the Messiah. Paul decided on the road to Damascus that he would no longer resist the truth, and he went on to become one of the greatest voices of faith. Each of these examples reminds us that one decision made in faith can carry eternal weight. But let's bring this down to the psychological level, because this principle is not only spiritual, it is deeply human. Neuroscience tells us that our brains are shaped by repeated patterns, yes, but often those patterns begin with a single pivotal choice. You can carry destructive habits for years until one day you decide no more. And the act of choosing breaks a cycle that seemed unbreakable. That choice may be small in appearance. Choosing to forgive, to walk away, to try again. But it initiates a ripple effect. It sets off a chain reaction that reorganizes how you think, how you act, and how you see yourself. Now, here is the philosophical depth of it. Freedom is meaningless without decision. We often complain about being trapped in circumstances, in relationships, in disappointments. But in truth, the greatest prison is indecision. To remain undecided is to surrender your freedom. It is to allow the flow of life to carry you wherever it will, instead of steering the course toward purpose. The Greek philosophers understood this. They taught that the virtue of a person is revealed in their ability to choose rightly, to act with deliberate intention rather than being driven by impulse. One of the tragedies of modern life is that we drown in endless options, yet starve in decisive action. People hesitate, waiting for perfect clarity, waiting for the ideal conditions, waiting for someone else to guarantee success. But here's the reality: clarity does not come before decision. Clarity comes after decision. When you finally commit, when you say yes or no with conviction, your mind begins to align, your spirit strengthens, and the fog that once confused you begins to lift. And this is where the spiritual truth intersects powerfully with the psychological one. When your decision aligns with God's will, it is no longer merely your decision. It becomes infused with divine momentum. What looks like a small human act becomes a heavenly partnership. You may feel weak in the moment you decide, but God's strength fills the gap. That's why so many testimonies begin with a single choice that seemed insignificant at the time, but proved transformative in hindsight. Think of the decision to forgive. Everything in our human nature resists it. Anger demands to be fed. Bitterness craves attention. But one choice, to release, to let go, to forgive, sets you free from a prison that years of resentment could never unlock. Or think of the decision to believe in yourself when everything around you says you cannot. That one spark of belief may feel fragile, but it ignites a fire that carries you forward when logic says you should collapse. And let us not underestimate the decision to begin again. Many people believe failure is final, but failure is not the end. It is a pause, a test, a lesson. The only true end comes when you decide not to rise again. But if you decide, even in your weakness, to take one step forward, that single act of courage changes the story. Destiny is not written by the number of times you fall, but by the choice you make to rise one more time. Now, I must address a subtle danger here. Some of us postpone decisions under the illusion that waiting equals wisdom. We tell ourselves, I need more time, I need more signs, I need more guarantees. And yes, there is wisdom in reflection, but endless waiting often disguises itself as prudence, when in reality it is fear. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of responsibility. But I tell you, this indecision is itself a decision. To delay endlessly is to choose stagnation, and life does not reward stagnation. God does not honor perpetual hesitation. At some point, you must decide. This is why I say to you tonight, do not underestimate the power of one decision. That decision may not make sense to others. It may seem small, even foolish, but if it is rooted in faith, if it aligns with what God has spoken into your heart, it carries more weight than you can imagine. History will not remember the endless thoughts you entertain, but it will remember the choices you made. So ask yourself, what decision is waiting for you right now? Is it the decision to forgive someone who wounded you? Is it the decision to step into a calling you've been resisting? Is it the decision to let go of the habits that are destroying you? Is it the decision to trust God fully instead of trying to control everything yourself? Whatever it is, know this. When you choose, you shift not only your present, but your future. And here is the thought I want to leave you with. The course of your life will not change by chance. It will change by choice. That choice may come today, in this very moment. And if you dare to make it, if you dare to align your will with God's purpose, you will discover that one decision, just one, can change your life forever.